Welcome to Your Need to Know. I'm your host, Catherine Reed, and today we're going to be talking about massage therapy. Very unique kinds of massage therapy with a licensed massage therapist, Lauren Cates. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So I'm interested in Healwell and the founding story of Healwell.
Yes.
Because up until today, I didn't understand that there was such a thing as oncology massage therapy.
You're not alone. It's a well-kept secret, quite unintentionally. So Healwell is, I'm actually the executive director of an Arlington, Virginia-based nonprofit called Healwell. And we didn't mean to start a nonprofit sort of when it started. We saw a problem and we wanted to solve it, and we weren't quite sure how to do it. And so, and the problem actually turned out to be multiple problems, which is how it became an organization. Because the problem was, how do we get exceptionally trained massage therapists into clinical settings to provide massage therapy at the bedside for people who are in hospital beds? And part of the problem is that there wasn't enough research, which, as I've been in this now for about 15 years, I've found that actually there's plenty of research. We just have to be able to frame it properly and to sort of hold it up against the research that's available for things that are standard of care, and sort of poke holes in some of the long-held arguments about why massage can't be integrated. But we also found that the massage therapy profession has not really done itself any favors, and that a lot of people come out of massage school minimally trained tradespeople who are really barely skilled enough to treat healthy people. And most Americans aren't healthy. Most Americans are living with chronic illness, they're living with medications, they're sort of living as though they're healthy, but actually are being treated for multiple things that most massage therapists don't fully understand. So we knew that we needed to elevate the level of training for massage therapists so that they actually belong in a healthcare setting, so they could speak the language, and so we could also conduct research to show that this is a thing that can happen, and then to provide a career opportunity for those massage therapists who have taken it upon themselves to get that continuing education and to be prepared to work in an environment alongside mainstream healthcare practitioners, because we really find a bias and almost a contempt sometimes within massage for sort of mainstream medicine. And so a lot of the education that we do through Healwell is helping massage therapists understand that nobody believes we're working in a perfect system. Even the physicians and even the healthcare administrators, everyone knows it could be better, and they all go to work every day actually to make people's lives better. For the most part, people in healthcare want to make people's lives better, whether they have an MD after their name or an LMT. And so if we can come in without that chip on our shoulder, we're halfway down the road right there, where we've experienced resistance in the past because we sort of come in and say, oh, you know, what you're doing is poison and what we're doing is magic. And
it's never a good idea to set up that divisiveness that says, you know, my thing is better than your thing or more effective than your thing. You said it was kind of a big deal that it went from CMT to LMT.
Yeah. Well, so right now there are still states in the United States that don't regulate massage therapy at all. And each state gets to regulate it however it wants. So for instance, in Virginia, in the Commonwealth, we are underneath the Board of Nursing as massage therapists. We do our licensing through the Board of Nursing. And for a long time we were certified. And it's just a different type of credential. When we move to licensure, there are just different, it sort of adds another layer of legitimacy.
Right.
That, you know, we're not just sort of providing this luxury service. We fit under that umbrella with the Board of Nursing, and that's where we belong. But in Maryland, they're under the Board of Chiropractic Examiners, and every state is different. In DC, we're under the licensed health professions, and so there are all kinds of different things that aren't at all like massage. In some states, we're actually regulated kind of like prostitution. So it's an uphill battle.
Yeah,
you know?
I would imagine that it would be.
Yes.
Wow, that's just something to consider right there.
Yeah.
So the name of your nonprofit is Healwell.
Correct.
So, and I find that fascinating as well, because there's health and there's wellness.
Yeah.
There's medical standards of care.
Right.
You know, we are very much based on medical interventions and pharmacology, better health through pharmaceuticals.
Definitely.
And so I'm just personally the kind of person who says the lowest intervention first.
Absolutely.
So I have a chiropractor.
Yes.
I see my nurse practitioner. I'm going through physical therapy right now for a torn meniscus. And actually, you know, we had this conversation about when she massages this muscle in my leg. I'm like, I'm not the kind of person who goes for massages, because I'm like, I never thought of it as part of wellness.
Right.
And so she's explaining to me, no, you have to work these muscles. Like, it's important to get, this is part of wellness and healing.
Right.
I'm like, well, thank you for letting me know, because this was something until like a month ago, I didn't think of massage therapy on the spectrum of health, wellness, and healing.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think there's even, this is another place where, as a profession, we haven't done a very good job of educating consumers. And so your average consumer, when they think of massage therapy, a lot of the patients that we work with through Healwell are in the intensive care unit or are literally in the recovery room coming out from a pretty intensive surgery. And we, if we are working with them, we'll talk with their nurse or their physician before we touch them. And if it's a practitioner that we haven't had experience with, we say, I've been called to provide a massage for this patient, and you can see the practitioner's eyes widen, because what they're imagining is what happened on their cruise to Bermuda, where somebody was chopping and
well, me too. I think it's a common mistake.
Yes. So I massage a lot of physicians and nurse practitioners' hands, and just say, so this is what I'm going to do with your patient. And the way that we talk about the massage that we do, because as you mentioned, we do oncology massage, which is not, it's really massage that is geared toward patient-centered care. So it's not about the cancer, it's about how do I create a session that adjusts for the things that, whether they're near-term or long-term effects of cancer or cancer treatment, and how do I provide you a session that makes you forget you have cancer. I'm not going to treat you like a cancer patient. I'm going to provide you a massage that's safe and effective, that takes all these things into account that you don't ever actually have to know about. So when I'm working with someone in the ICU, I'm having a conversation with their nervous system.
Right.
I'm not even contacting the muscular layers of tissue. I am touching their skin and the millions of nerve endings in their skin that are saying, it is so hard to be in this breakable thing right now. And I just need somebody to remind me that I can do this, that I'm actually designed to be alive or to die if that's the process that that person is in, but that having that kind of contact that is agenda-free, and this is such a big part of the training for our therapists, is about really helping them embrace their own mortality. And I think, honestly, our healthcare system as a whole would shift massively if everyone who provided healthcare understood that they will die.
Right.
And that we don't know when that's going to happen. And that these are really fragile and breakable things we're riding around in. And that when you happen to be lucky enough to be the person who is well and knowledgeable, standing next to the bed of a person who is not well and may not know about their illness, they still know more about them than you do. And if you can just be honest about that, it's a little scary on some maybe very subconscious level, that I understand that I could be you in the blink of an eye, it changes what can happen. And that's what happens with our therapists, is that a lot of massage therapists, while they come out poorly trained, the one thing they do learn is that their job is to fix this broken truck. And so if your hip hurts, I'm going to rub your hip until it doesn't hurt anymore, or until it hurts in a new way, right? And so with our therapists and the people who work for Healwell, as well as the therapists who come through our courses, a lot of what we do, we joke about it being untraining, because they come in wanting to know how to fix cancer. And we're like, so here's the thing about that, is that actually what you're going to do is stay out of this person's way. You're going to be kind to their body and help their body make the best possible use of this chemotherapy to recover from this radiation, to recover from surgery, to restore range of motion. But you're going to do that in these really subtle, agenda-free, non-fixing ways, because where you're coming from is kindness and compassion that stands on this foundation of clinical knowledge. And that's where what I actually do with a patient in a hospital bed looks like anybody could do it. But all the things that I'm thinking about so that I can do that safely are the things that hopefully the patient doesn't see or feel. They just know, I just feel better. I can just handle this. I know that I'm dying, or I know that I have chemo starting again tomorrow, but this is manageable now that this person has spent 10 or 20 minutes just being still and kind to my nervous system.
And that's the whole thing about the interaction too between the nervous system and the brain, and the mysterious way in which the brain impacts our health in ways that we can't even begin to understand.
Yes,
exactly. So I had a friend who passed away within 6 weeks of a cancer diagnosis, and it was tragic. And I was with her, every day for the last 3 weeks, doing things just like rubbing her back, right, and being there. But what astonished me the most is that she probably had that cancer for a long time.
Yeah.
But until she knew she had the cancer, she was managing.
Right.
And these kinds of things plague me.
Yes.
As to how the human brain can affect our physical health.
Absolutely.
But the whole point about touching and being with somebody who is in distress,
yeah,
or at the end of their life,
yeah,
and I am not a massage therapist, I was just a friend,
yeah,
who had been recruited by a bunch of women,
yes,
to be with her at the end of her life, and so we were there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and sometimes that was all you could do.
Yeah, it's just be
and
there.
it was instinctive, sort
right.
of.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know what I was doing,
right.
but I just
right.
just rubbed her back, sitting when she was decided to sit in her wheelchair, and I knew it made a difference. I could tell it made a difference.
Yeah.
But so medical professionals not rushing to embrace the fact that you're bringing something that they should see with their own eyes.
Right.
Makes a difference?
Yeah, well it's really fun when we see, every time we build a new relationship in a hospital, and we just recently started working with a team at a hospital, and the physician who was really excited about bringing us in and was really our champion, we had seen a number of his patients before he had actually been in the room when we saw the patient. And when he and the massage therapist came out of the patient room, he said, "Oh, that's all you do?" But the patient had just said, like, "I feel like I've been transported." We had a little girl, we work at Children's National Medical Center, and we had a little girl a couple weeks ago say, "I feel like I went to heaven, but I never left." Wow. And there's something about just being allowed to be in the space of this is uncomfortable or this is painful, and I don't have to bring a needle into your room to draw your blood or to give you medicine. I'm just here to be a human with you on this human journey that you're on, and my hands are going to be really useful, and we're going to say nice things to your nervous system, and it's going to remember that it doesn't have to send pain messages, even if it's just for this 10 minutes. And that's one of the points that a lot of the detractors of massage therapy and some of the other non-pharmacological interventions make, is that, the effects are only temporary. Are there any medicines that you only take once and then you're good?
Cured for
morphine, oxycodone, like you have to take those every few hours, even if it's every 12 hours. If you got a massage every 12 hours, what would your life be like? And you wouldn't have constipation or hallucinations or vomiting or nausea and the things that are standard with the medicines that are standard of care.
Yeah, and I think we have to, like you said, you have to untrain massage therapists before you can train them. We have to disabuse people of what they think they know about medicine so that we can help them embrace something else. And when we get back from this break, we are going to talk further with Lauren Cates about that very thing.
Last night at high school,
I tried Oxy at a couple of parties. I thought I had it under control. I didn't know it'd be this addictive. I didn't know how far I'd go to get more.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back.
when you want to talk, I'm here.
Welcome back to Your Need to Know. I'm your host, Catherine Reed, and joining me today is Lauren Cates. And what we are talking about is massage therapy in a medical healing environment. So when we went to break, we were talking a little bit about how physicians view the skills that you bring into that room. What you make look so simple and appear so simple. Actually, there's a lot of training, both technical and otherwise about what a massage therapist brings into that room. How do you train massage therapists to make it look simple and know that it's effective?
Right. Well, it's interesting because when we think about massage therapy and we think about how it works, there's not even really agreement about what's happening. So when we talk about is massage effective, there's sort of an ongoing argument about, like, is it biophysical, is it physiological, is it psychological, is it emotional? And I would argue yes, that it really depends on what's happening for this person. And as the conversation around pain and pain management shifts, and we get to this place now where I think for the most part we understand pain as a multifactorial experience, and that pain is what you say it is. If you are in pain, I believe you, however you describe it. And so, but I think one of the things that the opioid crisis is actually going to open doors for us. And I hate that we had to have such a crisis for people to sort of go back to, wait, so how do we treat people without medications or with less medications? And I think the shift, we are no longer calling massage alternative medicine. There's a real shift toward calling it integrative medicine.
I like that
which,
better.
Complementary was helpful. And I think integrative is kind of a little bit putting the cart before the horse, because it's still very much that acupuncture and chiropractic and massage therapy and the things that fall into integrative medicine are not truly integrated. Even at large facilities that say they have integrative medicine, you sort of go to a different place in the hospital, and those practitioners don't necessarily talk to your physicians, so the care isn't integrated. It's available.
And I can tell you that because it's only integrative if you as the patient are doing it yourself.
Yeah.
So I go to my chiropractor and I suggested to my orthopedic guy I needed physical therapy. He didn't suggest it, I did.
Yeah.
I go to my nurse practitioner when I think she needs to see me. So I am in fact the integrator of my integrative healthcare.
That's right. And I don't think, people are horrible advocates for themselves in any kind of healthcare, but you have to connect those dots as our system exists currently. And I think that, with the opioid crisis really getting the traction that it's been getting, actually Virginia's Attorney General Mark Herring led a group of 37 attorneys general last fall in writing a letter and reaching out to the insurance providers across the country and to other policy stakeholders saying, so if we're going to say, and the CDC came out and its recommendations for prescribing opioids say, we need to stop doing this as much. We need to look for non-opioid, non-pharmacological interventions. And the physician said, well, great. And the AMA came back and said, we can't do that because it's not reimbursable. So you tell me how to fix this, right? I'm glad you're excited about it, but my patients can't afford it. So Mark Herring and 37 other attorneys general said, fix this, guys. Like, fix the system, make it so that physicians are not rewarded for prescribing opioids, and so that we can be reimbursed for physical therapy and massage therapy and chiropractic. So it's a slow move. HHS has also picked it up and said, right, like, how do we fix this? So, but the problem is that the people in mainstream medicine are also poorly trained in how to manage pain. And we see this because many of Healwell's relationships in hospitals are with palliative care teams. And so we see the palliative care teams doing the same thing we do for massage therapy for what they do, which is really this grassroots advocacy of palliative care is not a different, like, you don't hand your patients off to palliative care. You incorporate the palliative care team into the care you're already providing to improve this person's quality of life, to look holistically at what's happening in this person's process, and to really bring all of the possible resources to bear. And so there's just there are all these long-held territorial conversations and things where physicians are like, well, they're not really ready for palliative care. Who's not ready to have better quality of life?
Yeah, tell me about that.
And and I think there is an understandable sense in the part of many physicians and nurse practitioners that when you pass your patient off to palliative care, it's because you failed. You can't manage them anymore, and so now you need these experts. And the palliative care people that I have experience working with are really humble, curious people who just want to make it less horrible to be sick.
Horrible.
And so,
horrible.
if you are in the hospital, you could benefit from palliative care, right? Even if you're going home in 2 days because you had a simple procedure, chances are good that we could make that better for you somehow. And massage being a part of that, the studies that do exist, what we know is that it's safe. Again, how many medications, how many procedures that are available as a standard of care can say that about themselves?
I know, it's because it's non-invasive, first of all. First, do no harm. Can we start there?
Yeah.
And the fact that pain management clinics blew up when opioids were introduced in the mid-1980s, by the early 1990s, pain management clinics, especially in the Ohio River Valley, were just pill mills.
Yes,
There was no more managing pain. It was just a profit-driven enterprise. So now pain management clinics don't exist. There was a university on the West Coast that used to have a department at a major university, which is just dried up and blew away in the dust because it was all about pharmaceuticals. So now we are like looping back around to say we have got to start looking at pain management from the lowest possible level of intervention.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that that is the model that is starting to move forward with the triple aim and sort of some of these conversations. Like, this is cost effective. The first thing we should do is send you to a physical therapist, send you to a massage therapist. Let me know how that goes. But I think physicians have also not been trained in how this can work. And as I pointed to earlier, massage therapists are not all created equal. And you know, as a physician, I send my person to a massage therapist, they come back and they tell me that the massage therapist put crystals on their forehead or lit sage or, you know, did things that as a physician I don't understand. And so then my suspicions about massage therapists are confirmed, and then there we are again. And so you know, and when we bring massage therapists into the hospital setting for our training courses, the things that they don't know, I mean, it's so exciting to watch them go, oh, I never would have thought of, insert any number of things that are unique to that setting. And, you know, being able to look at a patient's chart and look for, does this person have blood clots? Do they have skin fragility? Is their skeleton fragile? How are their organs functioning? And how all of that goes into a session plan that allows me to basically, you know, the analogy I use is that when we work with people who are really compromised, it's like we're jumping double Dutch rope. And they're actually swinging the ropes, and the ropes are their nervous system. And my job is to spend enough time in their presence, 1-2 minutes, just like with them, not ready to jump in, but just seeing what's happening here, so that I can jump into those ropes, touch them in a kind way that's supporting what's already happening, and get out and let the ropes keep going. Where I think a lot of the care that gets provided is very jarring and is sort of like, I'm here to do your, you know, sorry about your lunch, but I have to, and there's some of that that's just how it has to happen, because there are a lot of things that have to get done. But if we can be part of what happens to just fit into that person's day and to say, I don't need you to even move. You can, if that's the most comfortable position, you don't have to take your clothes off. You don't have to turn on your stomach. I'm not going to mess with your IV lines. I understand that you have lymphedema in that arm, and I'm not going to upset that. And I can speak to the nurse or the physician and say, you know, I know that you asked me to massage this person's lower back, but after talking with the patient for a few minutes, they said that this other thing was their most salient complaint. So I addressed that, and now they're asleep. The physicians are willing to trust us if we can have that conversation, but your average massage therapist isn't ready to have that conversation. So we're kind of fighting that uphill battle of changing perceptions that have been created in the outside world, and then we have the trafficking, you know, side conversation about massage therapy and how it's so poorly regulated that sort of these unseedy behaviors or, you know, seedy behaviors are happening related to massage that aren't really related to massage, but can be solved by the massage profession if it takes them seriously.
Right,
So,
everybody's lumping massage therapy into the one big cauldron.
yes.
But you've been doing this now for 8 years.
Yeah.
So you've learned a lot.
Yeah.
You've gotten a great deal of credibility.
Definitely.
You've trained a lot of people.
Yes.
You're working with 3 hospitals who trust you to come in
Yes.
and help to heal their patients or at the end of their life to help guide their patients.
Yeah.
At the end of their life. So you're doing a lot, but how are you going to scale this? I mean,
yeah, it's a good question. So we actually have therapists come from all over the world to take our courses, but we really have recently started to push to sort of bring local people in, because it doesn't help me if a therapist comes from Manitoba and then goes back to her home. I mean, that's great, and that is part of what we want to do is just have trained therapists everywhere. But as far as, you know, we're at Children's National Medical Center. We're currently doing a very large dosing study at MedStar, and we have a handful of opportunities that are sort of growing there. So we'll need probably twice as many therapists as we have today within the next 2 years. And so we're reaching out to massage schools. We're reaching out, I mean, we really want therapists who have been out there touching people already. We're not opposed to welcoming people directly out of massage school and training them. It might be easier to untrain them in that case, but we want people who know what healthy tissue feels like, so that we can teach them how to adapt adapt what they do for unhealthy tissue, and so they can really notice the difference. People who have been out there working in private practice or in spas who want to do something different with their massage and want to sort of elevate the way that they bring massage to people, whether they're in a hospital or not.
So my question there is that, so you're kind of like people who've already chosen to be massage therapists, they're kind of the people we're trying to reach. But
yeah,
backing up even further, we've got certification programs now in our community colleges here in Virginia,
right,
in health tech, where health tech is something like you expect to work in a lab or whatever. I don't know that young people being offered a variety of career choices are being offered, this is a career choice.
Right.
Before we ever get to the massage part, it's like, is this part of healthcare?
Right.
And if it's part of healthcare, is this something that you might want to do as your career?
Yeah. Well, and I think we have a real perception problem within the massage therapy associations and community, because there's a real division when our professional associations say, you know, well, we can't really advocate for this thing that would open doors in healthcare because not all massage therapists want to be healthcare. If you're a massage therapist, you are in healthcare. Sorry, it doesn't mean you have to put on scrubs or work in a hospital or a clinic, but when people come to see you, you are one of their healthcare providers. The average person going to get massage is a sort of wellness-minded person who is going to take your advice, whether it's accurate or not, as something that's going to hopefully promote health for them. So it's not, I think it's not acceptable for our associations and for practicing massage therapists to say, I don't want to be part of healthcare. Then you should probably have a different job because you're in healthcare.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I know that people go and for massage for a lot of different reasons, but my husband does it as healthcare.
Yeah.
Because he has a stiff neck and a sore shoulder, and it's minimally invasive, and he doesn't take painkillers.
Yeah.
And this is how he helps to heal himself in a partnership with a massage therapist.
Exactly.
Outside of a hospital.
Right.
But I think there's not a lot of people who embrace that. So I want to thank you, Lauren, for being here, because you have like illuminated something I did not even know existed in the world. And I hope that people out there who want to take charge of their own health care will consider that this is a way to do it. And I hope that you have a lot of students who want to join you in the future.
Yes, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to be here.
This is what you need to know about massage therapy in a healthcare environment.